Alrighty, so today we are going to be going over the top 10 LR EZAs within Dokkan Battle right now. The criteria for this one is actually pretty simple. This is one of the rare occurrences where the EZAs, especially for LRs, are basically the same between the versions. There's very minuscule differences between the versions at the moment, and I can't think of any LR EZAs off the top of my head that the game is missing for global right now. JP essentially, or global, excuse me, just like spammed LR EZAs in the recent weeks. So it's like, you know, these two or these three right here, you know, they're already out, and then these two came out during Golden Week. So, you know, it's been a lot of LR EZAs that have come out to global recently. So I figured let's go ahead and rank them from 1 to 10. You know, sometimes I like to take the safe route and go with the tier format, but I think this one, it's divisive enough to the point where we can kind of like, you know, healthily discuss 1 to 10, and, you know, 1 and 2, I think you can really interchange, just depending on the situation. It depends on the fight that you're in, what you value, and that's really going to be like the big difference, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. Keep in mind, like I said, this is just my opinion, and these units will be considered as of the JP version, but, you know, global is basically the same thing at this point, but they are missing a few characters that do make things going. So I'm going to talk about from JP experience for this list, but at least these characters are on global for us to evaluate. So number 10, let's go with STR UI Goku. Now, STR UI Goku, I think, has reached the point where you could say he is a little bit underrated. I've seen a lot of the funny things where they say it's just like his dodge chance is just no way that it's 70%, but I think that the way that the Universe 7 team especially works right now, if you need like a fill-in for the spot, I think that he can potentially work there, right? If you wanted to, I guess we could toss the honorable mentions on here as well. I think he is right here with the 5 years. These are basically all the same character, but at least with UI Goku, he is not slot restricted for dodging, right? Where it's like these two characters, if you want their evasion, you're going to need them to be in slot 3 unless you have them turn 4 with their guaranteed dodging. But the issue is like if you were running, especially if you're running both of these characters at the same time, good luck getting to turn 4, right? Just because of the way bosses are formatted right now. So keep that in mind. The standard right now, I guess, for JP is the Frieza and Goku and Frieza fight. And that is kind of like, these characters, it's just like, you're not running them in there, right? There's just no way. But very good characters at the very least, so I think 10 for them is a decent spot. Let's move on to number 9. Coming in at number 9, I have STR Vegito. Now, STR Vegito, very good character, but it's kind of tough to find spots for him right now, especially on the major teams within the game. I think Buu Saga would kind of be like the primary spot for these guys. Otherwise, you kind of have to mix and match a little bit to make it work. But still a very good character that has a lot of utility. And with that utility, we are going to be seeing things like the Scouter, the ability to counter, and stuff like that. With all the damage reduction that they have, the additional supers that they're putting out, the damage that they can put out, especially when they're in their Vegito mode. But overall, I think that this character it's kind of tough for them, right? You're kind of relying on dodging, especially at the beginning of the fight, and like turn 1, this character is not going to look their best, right? Like, this isn't a character you can just toss a slot 1 and is going to work out perfectly, right? But the amount of damage you can put out as Vegito can be impressive, but like 12, like the thing is with the Goku and Frieza fight, right? We have to at least consider that. The damage that the Vegito is putting out is not enough to damage Goku and Frieza, right? Like, most of the time I see this character, they're chilling around like 12 to 13 million. I think a 12 million with a crit is not doing damage to Goku and Frieza, right? That's just kind of the way that it is, unfortunately. So it's tough, but this is still a very good character, right? Like, being on the top 10 LR EZA list is still like a compliment to the character. It's just there are better characters in the game. So that is why I have them where I have them, but let's move on. So number 8. This one was a bit of a toss-up for me. I had a bit of trouble with this one, but I'm going to go with the Broly trio. And if you wanted to move the Broly trio up to 7, I'd be completely fine with that. I think that the Broly trio being orb restricted is a bit annoying, but this is a very solid character where if you can manage their orb restrictions and stuff like that. Actually, I'm going to move them to 7. Yeah, I like them at 7. And then I'm going to put Buuhan at 8. I think Buuhan is very good, but we can talk about both these characters at the same time, right? The Broly trio, I like the Broly trio just because of their guaranteed dodging, and if you can run them with an orb changer, you know, they're not really going to be getting touched in some of these events, right? Like, you know, it's very tough, but it's so tough, like, to rank these two, right? I think 7 and 8 specifically, like, if you wanted to do this, you easily could. It's so difficult to kind of set this up, right? I think that the base form of Buu tanks is good, but not impressive enough to the point where it's like you can have them above. So it's like with the Broly trio, like if you have their orbs, they can work in turn 1, right? And turn 1 these days is so important because of the way that these fights are formatted, right? When you need protection. So it's like, let's just say you're fighting, like you're using Tech UI on a team, right? Tech Ultra Instinct Goku, you can't get his domain turn 1. So UI Goku is kind of like, or Evolution Blue Vegeta, these two are the nice little like turn 1 protection characters that are going to be extremely helpful for them. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is right now with this character, or with this character right here. It's just you're not going to be able to use them as efficiently in the early content, right? Or like turn 1, because they just need a bit to get going. They're a stacking character, and stacking characters, especially in this new blue zone, sometimes they're just not always going to work out the best, right? It's the same case with this Vegito right here. The Broly trio, they have that slot 1 protection. And when you have that guaranteed dodging, the only thing that really can play against these guys is bad ki or bad orbs, and a boss that disables dodging. And in the Goku and Frieza fight, we do see that with the 17 phase, or no, the 17 of Frieza phase, excuse me. So again, it's really tough to kind of rank like 9 to 7. Like really, you can interchange this order any way that you want, but it's just the way it is, right? So let's move on. Number 6. Things do get a little bit easier from here. I'm not gonna lie. We have Jiren. Jiren is very good, but the issue with Jiren is there's a lot of things that are going on with the enemy that needs to happen, HP thresholds that you need to reach, and it's just going to be tricky to work with it, right? I think that the way that this guy works, especially with AGL Jiren, and again, if you wanted to put the Broly trio over this character, I think that'd be completely fine, but the way this character works with AGL Jiren is just one of the most impressive rotations in the game. This is a character that's going to help you get the most out of AGL Jiren at times, and that is kind of why I have him as high as I do. I think that the attack stats that this guy can put out are impressive enough. Defensively, he's doing just enough, but again, he is one of those like characters that can lose you a run, and the Broly trio is the same way, right? 7 orbs is not like impossible every turn, but it's also not like a 100% guarantee you're going to get it every single time. I've used the Broly trio plenty, and we've had to rely on the passive coin flip, right? It's just the way it works. I think that Jiren, just the way he works with AGL Jiren, is kind of like the way I have him higher. But again, if you wanted to put him at 7 or say 8, like that's fine. I don't really see a major issue with that, but I think the character overall is very impressive. Let's get into the fun stuff now. So I don't know if you can notice here, but this is essentially just a whole team of the same category in the top 5. So the worst of the bunch, 17 and Universe 7, a very good unit, right? This guy's on 24 ki, you know, giving, or especially when they're giving support as well to the whole rotation. They're giving two turn support, doing 2 to 3 supers all over, like, you know, 12-15 million, doing incredible damage, landing crits, giving the support. This is a very impressive LR EZA. And it's just the way that the fight is, or the fights are right now in the game. This character does work out very well for them, right? They're making UI Goku look better. They're making Evolution Blue Vegito look better. They're making Evoken look better. 17 of Frieza look better. Tech Ultra Instinct Goku look better, right? Any character that's on the Universe 7 team, this is going to be a beneficiary of this 17 right here. So I think that this is an extremely well done character, and for a support unit, this is about as much as you want. I think that like some type of dodge chance in the passive would have been nice though, because there are a lot of times where you'll be in a fight and they'll do like 2 supers, and if they take a super, they just lose, right? But that is the case with a lot of characters, right? Like these guys, any of these characters here, if they take the super, they're going to lose, right? That's why it's a lot of dodging in this 7 to 10 spot, right? It's just a lot of dodging, so just keep that in mind. But 17 is no different, so it's like really like 5 to 10. It's all just the Broly trio defensively is probably your best bet, or like a transform Buu tanks, right? At least these guys will give you access to see where the super is, so that helps. But I think 17 in Universe 7 overall is very impressive, and this is a character that is definitely worthy of the top 5. It's just the 4 characters above him I think are going to be a bit better. So let's move on to number 4, and that is going to be Evoken. If you want to exchange 4 and 5, I think that's fine. But really, the cutoff for me is like 5, right? Like the worst I'm going to put these guys is 5. You look at the Cell Max fight, especially right now, this is a character that lowers defense, lowers attack. This is like, if you set up properly for this character and you can use them in the proper situation where they are going to be able to debuff the enemy, this is a character that is just doing absurd amounts of damage. The crits that they have, the additional attacks, the defensive stats that they can get up to, the offensive stats that they put out, the damage reduction that they have per orb. When you have low HP, you have that damage reduction that you have access to on the active skill, which is going to make them very hard to be hurt. Just a solid EZA that works well with all of the other Universe 7 characters. This was kind of the tone setter for how the 6-year EZAs were going to be, or the 9-year EZAs were going to be looking. even with the Broly trio as well, right? Like this was the summonable LR, the Gold Coin LR, and then this was the Dokkan Festival exclusive LR. So the expectations were higher for this character, and I think that they delivered in that regard. This is a very fun character to use and a very impressive character at that. I like the way that they work with Evolution Blue Vegeta. I like the way that they work with UI Goku. The Universe 7 team right now is just like one of the best teams in the game. I think it's a hard number 2 just because superheroes is so dumb, but a very, very good team. So let's move on to number 3, and that is going to be 17 and Frieza. Now, 17 and Frieza, the only reason they are not the best EZA in the game right now is just because they are a slot 2 or slot 3 unit. And there's nothing wrong with that because the team that they're on with Team Universe 7, they have slot 1 characters and it's not a big deal. But with that being said, there is value to a slot 1 character, and inherently it's just a slot 1 character to me is always going to be better than a slot 2 character, right? Just the way that the game is formatted. And 17 of Frieza, this is a character that has 50% damage reduction on the first turn, and like I said, what have I been talking about in this whole video, right? That first turn is so important, and we have 50% damage reduction just as a baseline, and then essentially a guaranteed 51% additional damage reduction from the attacks that they're going to be doing because of the 17% damage reduction per attack that they have, whether it be a super or a normal. So that is a guaranteed, they have guaranteed 3 attacks. So on top of that 50% damage reduction, they are going to be getting 51% at the bare minimum for that turn in specific. So when you have this character in slot 2 or slot 3 and they have 101% damage reduction, there's nothing in the game that's going to be hurting them, right? You have to do an absurd super, which just does not exist in slot 1 or in turn 1 right now for one of these bosses. So like the super that you would require to hurt this character just doesn't exist in the game right now, at least on turn 1. So that is why this is such a valuable character. They can honestly, like, you could probably get away with just like running this character off lead. Like that's just how dumb they are, right? Because it's like you do 4 attacks, you're getting 85 or 68% damage reduction, like that 70% damage reduction bar. You could probably get caught doing that, but I think you could genuinely get away with it, right? It's like God Goku, right? Like that 77% damage reduction is going to come in handy somewhere, and even if he's not on the team. So it's just like one of those situations where I think that this character is very good, like just phenomenal, right? Like an easy top 3. Like the top 3 for me, 1 and 2 are interchangeable, but the characters themselves are not, right? Like it's 17 of Frieza, UI Goku, and Evolution Blue Vegeta, right? So I think 17 of Frieza, this is a character that's also going to be able to do like 4 to 5 supers on a turn, and they can look decent offensively, and then defensively they're just a complete wall in slot 2 or slot 3, which is exactly what the Universe 7 team needed because it is a lot of dodge or die. So let's move on to number 2, and I'm making a stand. Not a stand, but this is the first time I think I've ever rated this character at number 2. Evolution Blue Vegeta. I've kind of seen the light a little bit with AGL UI Goku. Let me explain the case. I think Evolution Blue Vegeta is still more consistent defensively, but one thing that I've come to appreciate with UI Goku is the ability to have the revive and a little bit quicker in the fight, which is going to come in handy in a fight like 17 or Golden. I keep messing it up because it's a phase, but the Goku and Frieza fight, because Evolution Blue Vegeta needs to be hit, and if you get unlucky and you get that character in slot 7, there is a chance that you just won't have that revive. But if UI Goku is in slot 7, you could potentially have the revive on that turn, and then you just park UI Goku in like slot 2, or you put a character in the front that will take some damage from the hits where they're at, right? Because like UI Goku having access to that revive a little bit earlier, I think is nice. And the turn 1, this is like, and we've talked a lot about early fight turn 1. This character to me is the best character in the game for turn 1. And the only counter argument to that is like, what if the boss disables dodge? I believe there's only 1 fight in the game right now, or 2 fights in the game right now that disable dodge turn 1, and that is the Broly fight from the red zone, not the boss rush edition. And then I think Kaioken Goku disables dodge turn 1, the blue zone Kaioken Goku. But either way, right? This is a character that just cannot be touched turn 1, is doing, like, linked up with Tech UI Goku and stuff like that, we're spitting out like a 19 million attack stat, cannot be hit, has an easy revive access now, which is super, super valuable. And then also, we'll be having another turn of that guaranteed dodge with the revival. Then Evolution Blue Vegeta is also going to be doing similar things with the guard and the damage reduction. I think turn 1, both of these characters are phenomenal, but where Evolution Blue Vegeta can take 100k from a hard-hitting super, UI Goku will take 0, right? Evolution Blue Vegeta, in most cases, I think is fine, but with him being an int character, if you do have dodge on him, because most people, I think, if you have him if you have the Rainbow Star on a unit, like, just put it on, right? And if you have that 5 dodge, it can be frustrating at times because you do lose that extra 10% damage reduction on like turn 2, and potentially can lose you the fight, right? And it can be frustrating, but again, this character is still very, very, very good. Still a top 5 character in the game. Me putting UI Goku over is just also character bias as well, but this is the list that I have right now. I think that the Universe 7 team, its presence on this is crazy. That is why it's been revamped a little bit. Like, if you're on the Universe 7 team, you just automatically have a little bit of value over the rest of the list. But again, if you want to interchange anything from like 6 to 10, I could see the argument. UI Goku is kind of like the only one where I can't see it. And then I just wanted to throw these guys on here just to acknowledge that they exist, right? So let me know down below what you guys think of this list. If you do disagree, let me know in the comment section below. This is just from my experience, again, and it's just for discussion, so don't take it too serious. But again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy. We have some member shoutouts to do before we get out of here, though, so let's stay tuned for that. Alrighty, so we have 3 new members to the Vilify family. We've got Christian, Naruto, Uzumaki, Solo, and Chunkster, all gifted courtesy of Rao as usual. Big ups to Rao. We always appreciate him around here. And then we just do the rest of the list anyway. Aaron, Static, Eric, Derek, Lamia, Nubius, Apollo Music, and Rao himself. So thank you guys all for your support. If you want to become a channel member, down below, click the link in the description. It helps support the channel greatly. Like I said, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all in the next one.